Hello, everyone. My name is Priyanka Mehta. I'm a part of the Hamilton Lease accounting team at Cognitus Consulting. Welcome to this webinar. Today, we will be discussing about the features and functionalities of Hamilton Engine. Today's speakers are Mr. Mehta and Budi Rahman. During the session, please feel free to communicate with the speakers through chat or question and answer. At the end of the session, we will take time to answer any questions you might have. Now, I will pass it on over to Mr. Mehta.
Good morning, everyone. This is Nageshwara Mehta, and I have been working in SAP environment from the last 20 years as a FICO consultant, and I traveled to 25 countries to implement fixed assets, accounts payable, and workflow process for different organizations. And I'm passing on to Mr. Budi Rahman, who is the architect of this product. Budi?
Yeah, thank you, Mehta. Hello, everyone. I'm Budi Rahman. I'm Hamilton Solution Owner for Lease Accounting under IFRS 16. I have been implementing SAP and business process transformation since 3 years ago for small, medium, and large organizations. So back to you, Mehta.
Thank you, Budi. So I'm going to share the screen. Can everybody see my screen? So today, we're going to talk about the Hamilton Engine features and functionalities. Hamilton Engine is an add-on to SAP. Hamilton Engine is a perfect solution for IFRS compliance, and it is a complete package to process lease data, reporting, and analytics. Hamilton Engine is compatible with any SAP ECC service pack and S/4HANA. Hamilton Engine is very, very easy to implement and very cost effective. Configurable reporting structure is a beauty in Hamilton, how the business want to see their reports. Maybe it's based on region, maybe based on the product line, maybe based on a country. So we can configure that structure in Hamilton Engine. Hamilton Engine is a framework to automate accounting processes. Hamilton Engine will be extracting the data from different source systems as a raw data, and it stores in Hamilton Engine Business Activity Repository. The data is stored in the repository as a raw data. The brain is responsible to enrich this raw data and create the business documents and accounting documents based on the predefined business rules. Hamilton Engine is use case driven. Each use case is a set of logical rules built in the brain. So when you are creating the initial contract, that will be by using one use case. That means it is creating the initial contract. We call that as a genesis use case. Other subsequent use cases are defined with different set of logical rules, meaning if you want to modify the contract, increase the lease term, decrease the lease term, increase the payment, decrease the payment, and termination, early termination. All these different use cases are defined with different set of logical rules which are built in Hamilton brain. This is an illustrative example. different operating systems, data from different operating systems will be extracted by using ETL tools and store that data in the Hamilton repository as a raw data. This Hamilton raw data will be processed by Brain or IFRS 16 engine and creates the documents which are ready for reporting. In this process, system will create ROU assets, PBMLP value, lease liability, interest, depreciation, and amortization. Hamilton engine is compatible with any other third-party softwares, which includes ERP, CRM, existing lease systems, Excel, and portal, and others. So the data will be extracted. Data will be extracted by using ETL tools, and this data will be transformed and stored in the Hamilton repository as a raw data. This is, as I said, each set of logical rules built in Hamilton engine in the use case, in the form of use case. Here, the raw data will be processed by first brain to enrich the data, and the second brain will be using to create the business documents and accounting documents. As I said, each use case, each event is defined as a use case with a set of logical rules. This is a lease life cycle: lease inception, lease receipt, lease payment, lease operations, lease end. In each phase, you have different sections here: operating lease, modification of lease, maintenance of lease, month-end process, the lease end notification, return schedules, lease inception, lease final payment. The lease postings and correction mechanisms. The source system, if you want to classify the documents which are already posted in the system, we can use the Hamilton engine. In the source system, the documents are posted. You are crediting the lessor and debiting the rental expense. That is before IFRS 16. The data will be processed, extracted, and stored in Hamilton engine. These transactions can be reclassified into depreciation, rental expense, interest expense, and depreciation expenses. This is before IFRS 16 and after IFRS 16. Before IFRS 16, all operating lease expenses are recorded in the income statement as a rental expense. After IFRS 16, all the operating leases must be in the balance sheet side as assets and liabilities. From 1/1/2019, based on the remaining lease term and monthly payment, system will calculate the PV/MLP value. This value will be used to capitalize the asset, and the same amount will be on the liability side also. And the rental expense will be classified into depreciation expense and interest expense on the P&L side after IFRS 16. These are the features and functionalities and reporting disclosures. We have all events are defined and configured in the Hamilton engine. Like here pricing, that means first year, one rate monthly payment, second year different rate, third year different rate. That's how we can create the contracts by using different monthly payments throughout the lease term. Initial direct cost, purchase option, guaranteed residual value, and terminations with penalty. All these things are built in Hamilton engine. The reporting and disclosures, all reports: maturity analysis, weighted average discount rate, weighted average remaining lease term, zero sum report, financial position movement, bucketing, liquidity, risk disclosures, zero-sum reports, depreciation and amortization, financial movement, financial position. All reports are available in Hamilton Engine. We'll take one example, leasing a building, one floor in any downtown area, something like that. So how you want to bring the data? Modified, we have a modified retrospective method, modified retrospective with return earnings, modified retrospective without return earnings. So these are the two methods we have. And the thing here is, in this example, your monthly payment is $69,000 and lease commencement date is June 1st, 2016. The non-cancelable period of the lease is 8 years and extendable option available for next 2 years. But the initial application date of this contract is going to be 1/1/2019, and the lease incremental borrowing rate is 5%. Therefore, it includes the lease liability. System will calculate the lease liability from 1/1/2019 based on the remaining lease term and your monthly payment. And your discounted rate or incremental borrowing rate is 5%. Based on that, system will can calculate the PV/MLP value, which is used to capitalize the asset and liability, and also generate the schedules throughout the life of the lease. And if you want to capture the lease commencement date values from June 1st, 2016 and 12/31/2018, that will be recorded in the retained earnings. In this process, you have to identify the documents which are posted in the system and make necessary adjustments to them. Here, once the lease is created, once the contract is created in Hamilton Engine by using the use case ID, these are the initial documents which are created in the system. This is debiting ROU asset, credit accumulated depreciation, debit interest in suspense, credit lease liability, and debit retained earnings. These are the initial postings in Hamilton Engine. And you can see that system is generating the schedule throughout the lease term. And in the blue color, you see the balance sheet items, and in the green color, you see the expense items. On the top, you see the contract number, header information, all the required information like vendor numbers, reference ID, lease status, contract end date, and vendor information. Projection of financial statements. Here, once the contract is created, as I said in the previous slide, the same thing. Here, the system is generating the schedule throughout the life of the contract. In this slide, you can see what is the accumulated depreciation in 2018 and what is the lease liability, interest in suspense, ROU assets, and interest expense, rental expense, and depreciation expense by year. So this is a total liability. And then in year 2018, 19, 20, this will be generated. System automatically generates this schedule in the system. The financial position movement. Here, once the contract is created and any changes or any modifications to the contract, like decreasing the term, increasing the term, and retiring means contract ending with penalties, all these movements will be recorded in this report. That means additions, changes, terminations, everything will be recorded in this report. And you see on the top, office, headquarters, retail, SBC corporation, warehouse. This is what I was talking about. You can configure the reporting structure. So here in this example, we have office headquarters, retails there. So that's how you can see what is the total liability of office headquarters and what are the modifications to this and what are the modifications for retail. You can see all those details in this report. Liquidity risk disclosure. The second column, you can see what is the total liability, and you will see the cash flow. And here, what is the total liability of this particular contract, and what is the first year, second, 1 to 2 years, 2 to 5 years, and beyond 5 years. You can see all these numbers in this liquidity risk disclosure report. We have the analytics also here. You can see ROU, asset depreciation, lease liability amortization, and lease contract metrics. In this, you can see backdated contracts, expiring contracts, payment discrepancies, and modified contracts. All these things are built in Hamilton Engine. That's the reason I call this as a complete package: lease processing, reports, and analytics. This is another view of a projection, lease projection dashboard, FIORI view. And I'm going to show you the live demo. First, I'm going to show you our template, which will be used to upload all the contracts. The first column is use case ID. This is our Hamilton Engine is driven by use case IDs. If you want for initial inception, this use case ID, I'm going to create the contract. That's the reason this use case ID is called Genesis use case ID. All other subsequent use case IDs are, if you want to make changes to this existing contract, you can use that use case ID here. The column B is this is called as a contract category. In this contract category, first 2 digits represent something, next 3 digits represent something, next 2 digits represent something, next one digit represents something, 2 digits represent something, meaning if the business wants to, how the business want to see their reports. In my example, I took first 2 digits is a company ID. Next 3 digits represent my product line. Next 2 digits represents region, that is North America. Next 1 digit represent my country. And next 2 digits represent a sequential number. And based on that, after you load this data, you can view the reports based on your lease category, contract category. If you want to see your product line, what is my liability of this product line across the globe? You can see that. What is my liability of this particular product line for North America? You can see that just one click away. The next column is lease agreement ID or header ID. This must be unique for each and every contract. So if you are making, once the contract is created by using this use case, this ID, by using the same ID, if you want to make changes to the existing contract, you're going to use the same lease agreement ID with a different use case. That's how you're going to make changes to the existing contract in the system. And column D represents the asset class in SAP. And this is your vendor number, and this is reference number. This is the contract term, which is a start date, end date, and the payment method in advance. before month end or beginning of the month, like that. And payment cycle, monthly. You can do that quarterly, half yearly, or yearly also. The billing cycle date, 1. And company, this is your SAP legal entity, and the company code currency or contract currency, cost center and profit center. So this is the from column W2. Here, if you want to make any changes like initial direct costs, notifications, and all that, you will use these columns. And this is the useful life of the asset. And here, based on, say for example, based on 70-90% rule, system will classify the contract into finance lease or operating lease. That is, that configuration is in Hamilton engine. System automatically classifies based on the 75 and 90 rule. System will classify the contracts into finance and operating leases. This is payment start date and end date here, and monthly payment. So this is the Excel file we are going to use when you're uploading the raw data into Hamilton engine. Here, raw data validation. Here, once the data is in the upload file, then we are going to validate this raw data. System, if any field is not according to the rules, then that will be pushed into error file. System will create the 2 sets of files. One is with data with correct information. Data with incorrect information will go to the error file. I'm going to show you. Here you can see all green. If any information in any field of the Excel file is not correct, then you will see the red light there. Say for example, in your upload file, you have 10,000 contracts. You can see the red light where for that particular contract, if any incorrect information is maintained or entered in the upload file. So we can straight away go to that particular contract and check the incorrect entries and retest it. If everything looks okay, then you can use that file to load the data. Once we do the validation, the raw data, then we are going to upload that raw data upload via Excel. Here, assign the file and click on execute. At this point, system will generate the iDocs. So let me show you. This is the lease contract dashboard. Here, you enter this information. So you want to see how many contracts you created from the last 5 or 10 contracts. You can see that here because I just created 1 contract. I'm entering number 1 there. So this is the contract you created by uploading the raw data into Hamilton engine. If you want to see the lease schedule here, so this is US GAAP. Here, header ID, use case ID. What is the use case ID used to create this contract? And contract start date and contract end date here. and the lease status, reference number, and vendor information is in the header data. And here you can see the total life of the contract is 3 years. System generate the schedules from the beginning of the contract to end of the contract. Here, the first 3 lines in the blue color, they are the balance sheet items. This is my APC, and this is my accumulated depreciation, and this is my lease liability. And the green side, rental expense and lease expense. Here, for US GAAP, your lease expense is a straight line, and your accumulated depreciation is not a straight line here. You see the difference here? Accumulated depreciation is not a straight line for US GAAP accounting standard as per ASC 842. And let me show you the accounting principle. This is IFRS 16 I'm choosing here. Here, your depreciation expense is a straight line. The previous one, lease expense, is a straight line for US GAAP, and for IFRS 16 or finance leases, depreciation expense is a straight line. For operating leases, rental lease expense is a straight line. For finance leases or IFRS 16 leases, your depreciation expense is a straight line here. And from here, you can see all the financial movements and invoice plan and everything you can see from here. And this is the basic features and functionalities of Hamilton engine. I'm going to pass it on to Budi if anybody have any questions about the features and functionalities of Hamilton engine.
Thank you, Meta. So, any questions from attendees? Seems we have a quiet night. It's a Friday night here and Friday morning in the US. I hope attendees still awake. Any questions? Hello. Okay, so Priyanka, seems we have a quiet night today, so I'll return back to you.
Thank you, Buddy. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We will be sharing the recording for this webinar. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please email me at pmeta@cognitusconsulting.com. This email ID is also on your webinar invitation. Thank you again. Have a good day.
Thank you. Have a good day. Have a good night. Bye-bye.